on Atn Politics. So no agreement with the EU, but
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
The only title in our democracy superior to that of the president is the title of the citizen. Democracy is not something that happens just at election time, and it is not something that happens just with one event. It's an ongoing building process, but it also ought to be part of our culture, a part of our lives. With these quotes, even by Justice Louis de Brandeis and Jim Hightower, I welcome you to ATN Politics. ATN Politics is the network's flagship program that discusses core political trends with relevant political stakeholders. Today on ATN Politics, we will be discussing core issues from different political landscapes, such as in Delta State, Ayere Imame optimistic of APC victory in local government polls. In Abia State, PDP charges Governor Alex Oti for proof of road rehabilitation. 6 Southwest governors adopt Yoruba anthem. And Peter Obi says that households now pray when they are sick. We'll take a very short break, and when we come back, we go straight into these issues for discussions. Please stay tuned.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human
on the point of order.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence.
Welcome back to Atn Politics on Atlantic Television Network, right here in the city of Port Harcourt. I am your host, Raymond Ken Mbata, and our guest today is the Chief Press Secretary to the Ahoda West local government area, and also the founder of Valiant Ambassadors, an NGO, and also a public affairs analyst. We are talking of no other by the name of Esedi Joe David. It's a pleasure, sir.
The pleasure is mine.
Good
Nice
having you on ATN Politics.
Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's not take much of your time. Let's roll. The leader of the All Progressive Congress in Delta South Senatorial District, Chief Ayere Emame, says if the July 13th Delta State local government elections is conducted in a free and fair atmosphere, chairmanship and councillorship candidates of the party will win. Emame made the declaration in Warri, Delta State, when he presented campaign materials to the party's chairmanship candidates in Warri South, Warri North, and Warri Southwest local government areas. He expressed optimism that all the APC chairmanship candidates in the three Warri local government areas will win the election. All right, that's some words of certainty in the slippery world of politics and electioneering. We are talking of Ayere Emame, ex, and right now a party leader, assuring his candidates in the APC that they are going to win. And meanwhile, Delta State is under the firm grip of the PDP. What do you think of his remarks? What do you make of it, sir?
Ray, there is something very fundamental about elections. And that fundamental thing is that it is not predictable.
Exactly.
And so every gladiator, every player, every contestant in the game of elections do their best to advise themselves and give hopes to their followers and all of their team members that they will win. And so that is what Emame is just trying to portray to his people. And I know his fears. Local government elections under under the state administration and conduct, it's always a little bit dicey sometimes.
Exactly.
You find out in most of the states, if the party in the state is PDP, they find that PDP will just sweep all the edges.
Exactly.
If it's an APC-led state, the APC just sweeps the edges. But I like his confidence. He's confident that if elections are done free and fair, according to him, and that polls are allowed to be counted and votes are allowed to be counted in the polls, that his party, his chairman, and all of that would come victorious. And so we have to wish them well. But the likelihood of the governor of the state not being interested in the outcome of the elections is slim. The governor of the state will want his party to win. And so for the APC and their team in Delta State, they have to work extra hard, to see that they come victorious. But being optimistic is a good thing for the game. In fact, when I saw the news headline, I was happy that the APC in that state were interested in local government elections.
Exactly.
Because oftentimes what you see is that the other big opposition political party may not want to contest to the fact that the state governor may have just written the results and what have you. So I like the atmosphere in the states. He's optimistic that they're going to the polls. He's happy that they're going to the elections. He's praying that it will be free and fair, and that if that happens as he prescribes, that his team will win. So we wish him the very best. I will pray, we'll ask the governor of the state too, to see this as a test for his genuinity to democracy. All right, to allow for a very free and fair elections to the best of his abilities. All right, to allow a free flow of, the right to vote for everybody and the right for votes to be counted for everybody. Exactly. So that at the end of the day, we'll not have him coming on air to tell us that he was rigged out.
Exactly.
All right, that's my take on it.
Oh, good. But in this case, there has been proposals being propounded that the INEC should be in charge of states
elections
and local government elections. And at the same time, we are still looking at both the INEC and the states electoral commissions. They both have a similarity that exposes a knowing flaw. He who pays the piper dictates the tune. Yeah. And the chief executives of both the states and the federal dictate who is the umpire of the elections. Mm-hmm. How are we sure of the outcome of the elections?
Like I said, it's a democracy, and if you watch the name as prescribed by the Constitution, they are an independent body, quote and unquote. They should be independent of any infiltration from the executive angle whatsoever. And so day after day, as our democracy keeps evolving, it just celebrated how many years of democratic rule? Yeah, 25 years. So as we keep evolving, our prayers is that the system should keep adjusting itself to the truth of the matter. That institutions like INEC that are supposed to be independent should be independent for real, okay? And that fears should begin to, reduce when it comes to how, free and fair elections should be, considering who appointed who and who didn't appoint who. So exactly. for Delta State, elections in a few days, where we're praying that the state gives us a bigger gleam of hope to democracy that we're all trying to protect, and that other states will copy light from it, and hopefully. And funnier thing in local government election is that you don't often see tribunals. Exactly. You don't often see agitations like you see, in other climes. So exactly. even if the governors of the states may have a little bit of an influence on the elections, it's managed to a point where agitations are very minimal. So however that's happening, and has happened before, we are praying that everybody will understand that we should really do democracy because we're in democratic era. So that's my take. I pray it works well for them in Delta State.
What do you think about the prowess of the personality of Ayere Mami being able to deliver on this promise?
They just finished an election, and I don't know how well he fared in his local government in the last elections. I know the APC had won some LGAs, PDP won some LGAs, but I don't know how well he fared. But he's been in the business for a long time. Yeah. A very long time. He's been, some people call him, he's been a grand lord, a grand, master in the business. He understands, what to do to win. Yeah. So I pray his candidates are popular, and I pray that the citizens of the local government areas in Delta State are going to vote, a person of their own choice and interests. And if the team Imam has put together in the APC are people of like minds and interest to the local communities, I suppose they will vote for them. Okay. I suppose they will vote for them, and I pray that he comes out with a little bit of flying colors, flying colors. But the basic thing is, he has suggested that it may not be free and fair, and he has prayed that it should be free and fair. Yeah. And so we asked the governor, and not governor this time, we asked the electoral commission in the states to do their best to be free and fair, so that we'll find out that those who have the strength of the campaigns and the elections come victorious at the end.
Okay, good enough for me. Okay, let's go to Abia State, where the chapter of the People's Democratic Party has charged Governor Alex Oti to name the 90 roads he said he rehabilitated during his 1 year in office. This was contained in a statement signed by the acting publicity secretary of the Abia State PDP, Elder Ama Anraham. Party urged Oti to name the 90 roads he rehabilitated in 1 year and to state the cost associated with the road contracts. They also asked Oti to show proof that due process and provisions of the Abia Public Procurement Act were followed in the award of the road contracts.
Yeah, Abia State is one of the states that we saw a very amazing election happen.
Exactly.
The Labour Party got that state from the wings of the PDP and the APC,
yes,
and of course the ABGA too, that has a little bit of strength in that state. And before now, we understand that the APC, PDP, ABGA share the wings of the big boys in the polity of that state,
yeah,
and how that these people have been able to, take power from the big boys in the system was quite democratically nice to see.
yeah.
And for PDP, I think too that PDP itself poured into the Labour Party, a lot of them, and so I think the faction of them, or a fraction, let me say, a fraction of the PDP remaining. You see, even the who published this is the acting public secretary of the party, because a lot of them have moved into the government of Alex Otti. And so they're trying to play opposition. It's not very easy to play opposition. You have to look for something to keep you relevant as you prepare for the next election. So they have, challenged the governor to make proof of where the 90 roads, he stated he has completed within the 1 year of his time in office. But one thing the governor made very clear, I listened to him during the anniversary, was that he didn't say he constructed. He said he had rehabilitated.
Okay.
He has rehabilitated 90 roads. And rehabilitation of 90 roads may not be too much to do in a year. It may just be roads with non-motorable sections that were filled up and all of that. But the citizens, those who are in PDP are still citizens of Abia State, who pay their taxes, and functions like these are their own rights and purview.
Exactly.
And so the government should, avail them the opportunity of telling them, how much he used and where the roads were constructed. They are like the governor of Rivers State during the 1 year anniversary. He had to go very open with his blueprints and what he has done. The cost of governance over the year and how he has fared. It was very obvious to people.
Yes.
So Abia State can enjoy that too. LSOT has been in the banking sector. He understands the plus and minuses and accounting. So I think it's a very, very obvious and nice question from the PDP, requesting to know where those roads are.
Yes.
And of course, want to know how much is in concern these roads. It's not a bad call, but coming from the opposition, you know how politics plays.
Yeah.
There will be feelings of, you can't ask me that kind of question from the Labour Party, most likely. Yeah. But if the governor has a time, of course he should. He has offices that are, liable to such informations. Keep them out. The 90 roads are in A, B, C, D, E to 90. Yeah. We rehabilitated them. Exactly. See what it costs to rehabilitate them. Such system of government and governance will even employ you to have much more followers. Yeah. Is to create an avenue where people feel that you are being very transparent and people want to be part of your system. Exactly. And so you should allow them. The call is not a bad call, but somehow too, those who are making the call, they're making the call in for the bad reasons. Yeah. You never can tell, but generally, as a public affairs analyst, people should know where their monies enter in government. If it's 10 million naira, if it's 10,000 naira that was gone in for 90 roads, tell those who had paid the money. You are just there to manage the money. Exactly. All right. So we wish them well in Abia State, and we pray that the government will see it beyond the political frame of opposition, asking the party in power, and liberate any information they want, and everybody will be happy in the state.
Okay. So the opposition there, being the PDP, have been in power in a lengthy period of time. What honors do they have to be able to checkmate the present?
That played in my head when I first read the story, because of how much, we know Abia State, we know Aba, we know Mahia and Co, and we know that it was quite not very nice, place to go and do vacations and all of that. So, and it was led by the PDP.
Exactly.
However it is, we are here now. Government, as a function of continuation, has brought LSOT into power. Exactly. And so I wouldn't ask him to lie on the excuses of you were here, what did you do? Okay. So flow with the system, do your bit as a governor, give informations out, which are public informations. Give them out, allow the system to flow. Doesn't stop you from being the governor. He has a lot of, about almost 3 years and plus or so to go. So enjoy your system. Let us play opposition, but rely more on those who are brought to power.
Yeah.
All right, rely more on them and give the information they need and enjoy your stay as governor.
Is it in the nature of Nigerian governors to apply Procurement Act, or it's a cronyism?
What happens, Ray, is that there is always that Bureau of Public Procurement in all the states.
Exactly.
And that bureau is always very functional. And that bureau can still go through analyzing different companies of interest for a particular contract. But what you cannot take away from the bureau is their right to make choice of who has completed and passed the process. Choice in a state is for ATN to win the job. And ATN and others apply for the job, and at the end of it all, the governor, desires ATN to get it. He just whispers to the bureau, who conducted the interview, who went through the process of the bidding, both the technical bidding, the financial bidding, produce ATN as qualified. And I know that if you watch how the contracts have been, most of the contractors chosen by the state government have always delivered, and becomes a leveler for how much you are doing well in the state. So don't even choose mediocres. Yeah. So they may not all be perfect, but I know that this pass through those processes, and then the person of choice. So let's not be on the very periphery of, do they even use Bureau of Procurement? Do they go through? They do, but the decisions at the end still remains with them to take.
Exactly.
And that's how the system works.
Well, because the devil's advocate in me popped up because of a previous PDP leader in the Abia State House of Assembly, still awaiting his inauguration by the Speaker and due process being followed to welcome him into the fold. And I know that Alex Oti has a hold on the political terrain. But why can such a case be pending unattended to 6 months after he had won his seat?
If you go to the intrigues of that matter now, you find out a lot of sides to it. It may just be the straight jackets have not been sworn in or inaugurated as a member. It may not just be. So let's not delve into that in a hurry. Most likely, as a game plan, just like Rivers State here, with hundreds of sides to issues, and you can't take one side to deal with it. Yeah. There's one here, that is there, and so it's a very holistic thing if you want to discuss it. So that member of the assembly who have not been, inaugurated into the house, I don't know if his emoluments have been paid. I don't know if he's finding it easy. I don't know if his case is shop GGs. I don't know. So delving is going to be quite dicey.
Okay, your point. We have been discussing Seti Joe David, the Chief Press Secretary of the Ahoda West local government area. And not only that, he's also the founder of Valiant Ambassadors, an NGO. Added to that, he's a well-groomed public affairs analyst. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll head into more details for his dissection. Stay tuned.
The world economy. Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very family.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on Atn Politics today.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
It's a pleasure having you back on Atn Politics, right here on Atlantic Television Network in the big city of Port Harcourt. We have a guest of no mean repute, the Chief Press Secretary of Ahoda West Local Government Area and the founder of Valiant Ambassadors, also a public affairs analyst. Now let's rush in to the matter at hand. The 6 governors of the southwest states of Nigeria under the auspicious Governors Forum on Monday, June 10th, 2024, met in Lagos. And there they discussed issues about the development of the region. Governors Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, Lucky Ayedatiwa of Ondo, Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State, Seyi Makinde of Oyo, Ademola Adeleke of Osun, and Biodo Oyebanji of Ekiti State attended the meeting. And at the meeting, the governors unanimously and officially adopted a song for the Yoruba anthem. The adoption of the new Yoruba anthem has continued to generate reactions from stakeholders in the region. While some see it as a misplaced, others see it as a good step towards the realization of the regional government, which the Southwest has been at the forefront of. The former chairman trade of the Ekiti State chapter, Mr. Kolawole Olayan, described the new regional priority, adding that the Southwest governors should prioritize the welfare and security of the citizens by coming up with an acceptable new minimum wage. Also speaking, the Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Peretei, said that the Southwest in recent times have been subtly pushing for a return to regional government. This step may be geared towards its realization. Yes, sir. There has been a call all this while, just recently also.
Yeah, for reps.
Yes, for us to go back to regional system of government. Starting at that point first, before do you, what's your take concerning regional system of government?
I have read our history as it pertains to regional government system. I only looked at the proposal made by the 30-man House of Rep members in the new bill they are proposing. And there are good and not too good sides of the proposition. You know, the good side of it is that it decentralizes the government. It allows that the government at the center is no longer completely responsible A to Z, as the affairs of the regions are, you know, more deliberately looked into by the regions. It also scores high the possibility of all our regions trying to create for themselves a living. You see the south where we are here, we're dependent so much on what the north produces as food, as it depends on us for a lot of other things, you know. So that's this subtle anthem arrangement towards, you know, a backing of the regional government. It's to them a way to start. Okay. But I wonder what's recently happening with anthems as a yardstick for development in the country. Exactly. Because we watched how, with the speed of light, National Assembly returned us back to, you know, the anthem we had left behind. Exactly. And then everybody clamored and we're like, okay, what exactly has this anthem to do with however our economy is functioning? We are in this pit where people are almost dying of hunger, that is starvation. Yeah. And then what your interest is that we should sing a new song first, excuse me. Yeah. And so now it is beyond the federal government. Those who are pushing for regional government, which I don't completely dislike, I quite accept the fact of regional government. Well, why begin from the anthem angle?
Do you think they began from the anthem?
No, the anthem is one of the public things they brought to fore.
There's already a regional police called the Amotekun.
I know,
there are some bills. There are some.
There is something. What qualifies that a new song should be sung to help the cause? That's the point. Okay. Now, to be posted as an agenda for Southwest Governors meeting in the system where we all are in, and there is hunger, and there is starvation, and there is, you know, people are deprived of the little things they should get as dividends of democracy. Exactly. And then the first thing you are coming together to do at the end of your own meeting is to give us a song to sing. Does the song profile solutions to the immediate thing we are enjoying is seen now? No, if an anthem should come, it should be after the bill is completed, and then we see that we are obviously going to disintegrate into a few regions, and then as part of uniting us in that region, we bring up an anthem and sing a song in that language. I wonder what language the South will sing in, you know, when we begin to go to regions.
Obviously in Pidgin English.
Maybe Pidgin English, I suppose, so. And that would have to be adopted as our lingua franca going forward. But for me, those who have cautioned these governors against the step of starting with a song as a means of bringing the Yorubas together in what is coming up as a regional government, have done that in good light. They've done that in good faith. That song as an integral part of their meeting in this time like this in Nigeria has no bearing. Okay. It has no advantage to the economy. It doesn't help food in people's table. It doesn't help security. It doesn't help even people's emotion. You know, in fact, it's an increased burden to those who want to delve into it by learning the anthem. Mm-hmm. You know, it's an increased burden to schools who want to adopt it by teaching their children the anthem. Exactly. So it does not relief of any stress whatsoever. And so I don't see it as what should have been discussed. And for it to have come this far, it means they have gone so deep into it, got a composer, you know, sent lines.
Yeah, I think it was said to be composed by the late sage Obafemi Awolowo. Okay. But not utilized as at then.
As at then, okay.
So they are like...
So whatever like has given them this interest to start helping the Yoruba nation with an anthem is quite a funny idea, because it doesn't correlate with the man who wants to eat food and have dinner and wake up tomorrow without insecurity.
Exactly. And say from one of the comments being made here that said that the PDP in Ondo State, the publicity secretary said that they have been subtly pushing for regional governments. This might be geared towards this realization. Is the president in the know of this agenda? Is the president as in nudging them towards this? Because I know that they cannot hold this meeting actually without the know of...
Politically, sorry to cut you in.
Yes.
Politically, most of the parties in that meeting are of the APC.
Yeah.
And the way politics works is that you don't just do a thing all by yourself in the system. Your ladder up will be aware. And so if this anthem has come up, I see it as part of the whole clamor for anthems from the presidency. Because the Speed of Light, President Tinubu signed our return back to Nigeria with Hail Thee, was an attestation to the fact that he prompted the National Assembly to even pass that return to the anthem. And so this one too would have gotten a nod from him for them to go into discussing anthems in a 6 governors forum meeting. Okay. You know? So as irrelevant as that is to me, must most likely have gotten a nod from the presidency, because that's how it functions. They will argue that the governors are independent and the forum they belong to administer their things by themselves, and that the governors are men of personal thinking and thoughts. Yeah. But it's not far from the fact that the presidency and the federal government and those who love to bring new anthems to us are aware of this anthem.
All right, because I see the moves in the national legislature towards, I think there is a deja vu season in vogue now. And if the Southwest is singing this same song of regionalism, having an anthem for a region, then that means there might be interested parties in the central towards maybe coercing or maybe nudging us towards regionalism.
Yes, the bill is already been, it was flagged up by Ugochinyori and others, you know. The bill is already in the process. And it's a mass-sponsored bill. It is very voluminous. I've not been able to go through all of the pages. Yeah. It's a mass-sponsored bill, and such mass-sponsored bills, I looked at the composition of the members of that 30-man team, and I saw those who were in the very camp of the president, both in the APC. I saw those who are friends to the president from the PDP. I saw those who are friends to the president from the other minority members in the House. You know, I saw that in almost all the states, there were representatives in most of the states who at least had one person saying yes to it. Yeah. And I saw that most of the persons that were saying yes to this agenda, you know, had a very excellent relationship with their own state governors. Okay. And so it means that from the federal, there is a yes. From most of the state governors, there is a yes. And so I think we are in for a very interesting, you know, times in the country. and we wait to see what happens. I personally think that there is a 1st October 2024 timeline to proclamation for this regional system.
Wow.
I am seemingly imagining that, or just between me and myself.
Okay.
Well, let's watch how the tempo goes. The idea of governance is to enable people live better lives from the day you enter to the day you leave.
Exactly.
Whatever means to giving a better life to citizenry to you it's welcomed. Okay? We saw what happened May 29, 2023, when the president lifted subsidy. Exactly. By the time he was being sworn in. And one would have really imagine that we would be suffering hike in petrol, suffering and a relatively hike in everything in the market, by that proclamation. We were thinking that more monies will flow, and that idea of lifting subsidy was an excellent one, but it has not materialized. So I want to use the opportunity to urge the federal government to expedite action. The reason to which they removed the subsidy and the idea to which they want to make lives better by removing the subsidy, it should begin to be seen in effect in our lives. Okay. It should begin to be seen in the daily markets we go to. It should begin to be seen in the schools and the transportation systems we engage in the new infrastructures we are having. It should begin to reflect in our daily lives. Exactly. That's the idea of governance. So when it comes to regional system of government, if the presidency or those who are floating this thing think it will help us have a better life, I'm okay.
But juxtaposing, we needing a better, a more realistic federal system where each state produces and pays tax as against the regional system. Which do you prefer?
The regional system does not remove the federating units.
Okay.
It does not remove the federation as having its capital in Abuja and then overseeing the affairs. It only just gives you a sense of let me relate it to a new grouping.
Okay.
A new grouping. In that new grouping, you could likely begin to agitate for more states in that group. In that new group, you begin to agitate for a more increased level of resource control. Yeah. In that new grouping, you begin to look at for what binds you as a people and how you can stay in that confluence of you as Yoruba or as an Hausa, as a South, and enjoy yourself there and need the federal government just once in a while. And so it does not reduce the fact that taxes will pay to the federal government.
Definitely.
It does not reduce the fact that the states will still have governors and reports to the presidency and all of that. In fact, the bill is so yes and no because a lot of things may be adjusted as time goes on. They discussed issues concerning two vice presidencies, discussed a lot of issues along the line of the bill. So we'll watch and keep commenting on as the process continues to fly.
Two states come into my mind when it comes to regionalism and where they may fit in. Kwara State.
The supposed middle belt.
Yes, the middle belt. You understand? Yeah. And we have
Delta State. Suppose we used to say middle belt, but there's no belt.
There's no belt.
There's no belt.
Okay, let's call it central Nigeria. But because where would Kwara State fit in? Is Kwara State supposed to be with the southwest? Or they're supposed to be with the central?
Right now, Kwara belongs somewhere.
Yeah, with the Arewa.
Yes, not the Arewa. In the geopolitical zones, of the 6 geopolitical zones in the country, Kwara belongs somewhere now.
Yes.
And so where they belong now is still the Atachi going forward. I wish them well.
We hope to see what turns out to be the formation, if it turns out to be true. Let's see whether it would to alleviate the sufferings of the people.
That's the end of it all. That's what we all want to, acclimate this on. That's the echelon of all we're discussing. Let the systems create for us a life of ease, a life of peace, a life of security, a life of visible, show of dividends of democracy. Not by the words of mouth, but by the deeds of the government.
Exactly.
However you want to plate it, it's fine. How you want to plate it? I normally would tell my family, if you're boiling water using the electric cooker, or you're boiling water using the gas system, the endpoint is that I want to get hot water.
Exactly.
And so, however the government wants to pan around this, if it gives us the result that we all yearn for as Nigerians, we're okay. Yeah. That's why I related and referenced us to the subsidy issue.
Exactly.
If the removal of subsidy was to give us a good life, excellent. But so far, it's been removed. We've not gotten a very good life. And I know that the federal government has always proposed that it requires a little bit of patience and, in a short while. We don't want this short while to be the first 4 years. All right? Let it happen now. Let us see that this thing you did, this policy you undertook, is in effect creating the Nigeria that you swore and you campaigned to build.
Oh, good enough. Good enough for me. Good enough for me. All right, let's move into the next story. Perhaps the final story for analysis today. Former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi has said that most households in Nigeria now resort to prayers when they are sick instead of procuring medicines to heal themselves. Obi stated this on Wednesday at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, while delivering a keynote address during the 6th public lecture of the Board of Fellows, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. He bemoaned the state of the nation's health sector, saying that many pharmaceutical companies have left the country, making drugs very expensive for the poor, which is the reason many homes now resort to prayers. Obi, who was the keynote speaker at the event with the team, Access to Quality Medicine in an Unstable Environment, said that rather than partner local pharmaceutical industries for manufacturing of high-quality drugs, government has instead been issuing licenses for importation of drugs and collection of revenues from the importers. Your take, please.
It just, it continues from what we were just discussing, how the government policies should reflect in lives. And Obi's take there, it may not be far from the truth.
Okay.
It may not be, because people are not really having money. And when people are not having money and they find that, resorting to religious assistance will some sort do what spending money would have done for them, they will do that.
Exactly. Okay,
if you feel hot in the night and then you see that praying for a few minutes helped Mr. A, who's your neighbor, you may just want to pray and want to go and look for medical assistance. Yeah. And so it's a call, not just to castigate the government, it's a call that the government should increase. He was speaking at a pharmaceutical event.
Exactly. And
so it's a call for the states to try to increase their level of interest in pharmaceutical products. If there is, I don't know, in the report yet, if pharmaceutical companies are leaving the country, to find out why they're leaving, and try to see that they're not leaving anymore. And the environment is created for even much more companies who have the pharmaceutical industries to come into the system.
Exactly.
And then if a paracetamol that should cost 15 naira will cost 13 naira, prayers will reduce the hopes we're taking them. So the call by P2B is a nudge. The system sometimes, you may be too busy in government, not to realize that there are certain things that are not actually going very well. The people in government could be, so into a lot of things, and they may not realize that ampiclos has gone high, or bicham has increased, or the nitrovites of children have increased. So calls like these are necessary a few times to have to draw attention of government and government. We're discussing now. Yeah. Those who are watching over their houses, and those who are in the leadership will see that, okay, even those who want to do the business will find out that, if truly there is a decline of the number of companies that are producing drugs, and I'm doing this in India, why not I put a leg into Nigeria and see that the market there with, those who are leaving, I cover them up. So it's not a call in bad faith, as I see it. It was a public lecture, it was a keynote speaker, and he has urged Nigerians, to, not because praying is bad, but if there is a remedy It should not be praying that should come first.
Exactly.
It should be the remedy to which medicines can solve. And the federal government and the state government and the Nigerian system as a whole should try their very best to see that these things that are, emergency things of national growth should be attended to immediately. We understand a few time ago, 2007 and co, we used to have free medical care for the elderly in the general hospitals.
Exactly.
We used to have 2006, 2007 then. Childbirth and maternity was almost free.
Yes.
There were even NGOs that were, fronting free anti-malaria drugs.
Yeah.
So these are things that people should call attention of government to. It shouldn't be the hula baloo of jumping sirens and all of that.
Exactly.
These are basic things that government and governance should be about, so that those who have no relationship with the chairman of council and have no relationship with the governor and the ACs of governors, and have no business with the ministers and all of that, can see government right by their corner. When the primary health centers are working and they can walk in and get attention, stuff like that. So I am asking that the federal government and the state government should increase their surveillance. If probably they would be doing this, and that can be very funny. They could be doing this. The system could have been providing for such assistance in local primary health care centers.
Okay.
But because of low level of surveillance and reportage from the local communities, the government funding the systems may not even be be aware that things like that are not happening. And so this is a wake-up call for everyone. Obi, from his own side of the polity, has nudged the federal government to see that pharmaceutical industries reduce leaving the country. In fact, much more should come in. And so everyone should be on the stake that Nigeria can get better if we don't see most of these calls as a call of the opposition, see most of these calls as a call to bring down the government, and look at the calls objectively and find solutions to help. In fact, I'm expecting that the government will reply statements like this and say, no, Nigerians are not praying other than taking medicine. The federal government has given out $500 million in pharmaceutical industry, assistance. They're giving grants to these short companies. There's an engagement with people like this. There are free drugs in issues of concerning malaria. That's the way government should function. Exactly. The idea should be at the end of it all. Does the common man, does a man by the Ikoku in Port Harcourt, does a man by the Rara Market in Aba, does a man in Boko, are they able to see government in their own space? Are they able to feel government and governance, within their own space? That's the end of it. That's how this thing should be panned out. So that's my take on Obi's comment.
Okay, but this is also driving my mind towards a section of the medical field that has been neglected over the past years. I know when we were growing up, there used to be this neem plant. And I can't remember taking malaria medicine until maybe in my teenage years. Just boiling that and a little sip, and they cover you with blankets, and you inhale that the steam. And I mean, in no time, you're up and running. The traditional medicine has been neglected.
Yeah, a lot of persons still do shadow medicine. We see them even on TVs and radios. But if there is no government engagement and government assistance to such initiatives as those,
because India has a thriving one. China has a thriving one.
So we urge the government as we finalize that they should look at whatever will give the very masses the field of government. The government. That's the point.
Okay, because Obi says that he went to a medical facility and he met over 50 pregnant women attended to by just one doctor.
It's a very holistic system that should be looked into. The whole of the system, comprehensively looked into. If we want to discuss how that healthcare system is poor, you wouldn't live here today.
I understand.
It's a system that will keep calling on the government to increase their beat, to really increase their beat for the good of all Nigerians.
We have been speaking to Esedi Joe David, and I've been enjoying every minute of our stay here on Atn Politics. He is the Chief Press Secretary of the Huda West Local Government Area of Rivers State and the founder of Valiant Ambassadors. Added to that, he is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for your input today.
The pleasure is mine.
I enjoyed every bit of it, and you educated us too.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
From your host, Raymond Ken Mbata, I say this is a wrap from ATN Politics. Do well to stay connected with us on our ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, on X, formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, and watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for programs coming your way on Atlantic Television Network.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all.